Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, November 29th. I'm Byron Scott.
And I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us this evening. The Baltimore police officer killed earlier this month is laid to rest today. 43-year-old Sean Suitor was investigating a previous killing in West Baltimore when he was fatally shot. Funeral services were held in the city at the Mount Pleasant Church and Ministries. Various dignitaries, members of Souter's family, as well as fellow officers spoke at the service.
Sean Suitor's legacy will live on through his children, who will be reminded often of the bravery and courage of their father.
Sitting in a car together, talking about everything from our family to me trying to figure out how a DC guy who works in Baltimore and lives in PG is a Dallas Cowboys fan.
Souter was an 18-year veteran of the police force and also served in the Army. He was a husband and father of 5 children.
And it could be a long December for Congress as Republicans push to get their tax bill to President Trump's desk by Christmas. The House passing its version of the plan earlier this month. Senate leaders are trying to get their measure passed this week. Congressman Jamie Raskin says the votes are close.
It's going to kill us in Maryland because it gets rid of the home mortgage interest deduction. It gets rid of the deduction for local and state taxes, which really hurts us because we're a state where we really invest in our public schools and in our universities and in the infrastructure. And so the abolition of that deduction is going to kill us. The tax bill, I think, is a monstrosity, but they're insisting that we pass it before we leave, and we just think that would be the civically irresponsible thing to do.
Also on the agenda, a December 8th deadline to keep the federal government funded and avert a shutdown. Well, a Prince George's County firefighter has been found guilty of child sex abuse. Donald Stansel was found guilty on charges stemming from an incident in Charles County back in 2016. He's been with the county fire department for 14 years. Investigators did not release details on the case. Stansel has been on administrative leave in 2016. He's been resigned or has since resigned from the department.
Friends and colleagues continue to remember Judge William Missouri. He was laid to rest. He will be laid to rest tomorrow. Today, the Honorable Sheila Tillerson Adams, who succeeded Missouri as the administrative judge in Prince George's County, called him a great leader, mentor, and praised his contributions to the community. She reflected on his career as we spoke with her in her office. Judge Adams says he will be remembered for a number of things, including how he created systems in the courthouse to make it more open and efficient.
But the impact that he had was more in the systems of this courthouse, to make sure this courthouse was prepared to service the needs of this growing community, to make sure that when your case was filed, you didn't have to wait for days to know that your trial was going to go. When you had a trial date, you were going to trial. When your case came to court, your cases were processed effectively. So he was a master at developing systems to make sure that our process was modern and functioned the way that it did today. He never was in it for self-gain, but what he could do to serve others. And I think if young people took self out of it and looked at what they can do for the greater community, if they learned that from him, that will be a tremendous lesson that could really change lives and change the world.
A visitation for Missouri is being held from 6 to 8 tonight at Evangel Cathedral Bishop's Chapel in Upper Marlboro. A funeral service will be from 9 to 11 tomorrow morning at St. Joseph Catholic Church in Largo.